Rachel was loved, but she was empty. She was the wife Jacob worked 14 years for. She was beautiful, cherished, chosen. Yet every night, she lay awake with a pain love could not heal. She had no child. In those days, barrenness was not just private sorrow, it was public shame. A woman without children was often seen as forgotten by God. Rachel felt this weight every single day. Her sister Leah shared the same house, the same husband, but not the same heart. Leah was not as loved, yet she was fruitful. One by one Leah gave birth. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah. Each cry of a newborn echoed through the tents like a reminder of what Rachel did not have. Leah named her sons with hope that Jacob would love her more, but each name pierced Rachel's heart. Rachel asked herself in silence, "Why her and not me?" Rachel's pain turned into jealousy. She loved Jacob deeply, yet she felt incomplete. Her longing grew so intense that she cried out to Jacob in desperation, "Give me children or I die." These were not words of drama, they were words of a woman drowning in unmet desire. Jacob, frustrated and helpless, replied sharply, "Am I in the place of God, who has kept you from bearing children?" Rachel felt unheard. Loved, but still empty. Like many who are tired of waiting, Rachel tried to help God. She gave her maid Bilhah to Jacob so that she could have children through her. When Bilhah gave birth to Dan and Naphtali, Rachel claimed them as her own. For a moment she felt relief. But borrowed joy cannot replace a fulfilled promise. Deep inside, Rachel still longed for her own child, a baby she could carry, nurse, and name. One day, Leah's son Reuben brought home mandrakes, plants believed to help fertility. Rachel asked Leah for some. Leah, wounded and bitter, replied, "Was it not enough that you took my husband? Will you also take my son's mandrakes?" The house was filled with tension. Rachel traded a night with Jacob for the mandrakes, but even then nothing changed. The waiting continued. Then, in God's perfect time, something beautiful happened. The Bible says, God remembered Rachel. He listened to her and opened her womb. Not because Rachel earned it. Not because she fought for it. But because God is faithful. Rachel conceived and gave birth to a son. With tears of joy she said, "God has taken away my reproach." She named him Joseph, meaning God will add. Years of tears turned into testimony. Years of silence turned into song. As Joseph grew, his father Jacob showed his love openly. He made Joseph a coat of many colors, a special garment that set him apart from his brothers. Joseph's brothers saw the favor and despised him. They hated him even more when Joseph began to dream. One night, Joseph dreamed that he and his brothers were binding sheaves in the field, and suddenly his sheaf stood upright while theirs bowed to it. Another night, he dreamed that the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed before him. Joseph shared the dreams, not knowing the fire they would ignite. His brothers' hatred grew stronger. Even Jacob, though he kept the dreams in his heart, rebuked Joseph. But God was already writing a story no hatred could erase. One day, Jacob sent Joseph to check on his brothers who were tending sheep far away. When they saw him coming, they plotted to kill him. "Here comes the dreamer," they mocked. Reuben, the oldest, convinced them not to kill Joseph but to throw him into a pit instead, hoping to rescue him later. They stripped Joseph of his colorful coat and threw him into the pit, alone, terrified, and betrayed. While Reuben was away, the brothers saw traders passing by. Judah suggested they sell Joseph instead of killing him. And so, Joseph was sold for 20 pieces of silver and taken to Egypt as a slave. They dipped his coat in animal blood and told Jacob that a wild beast had killed his beloved son. Jacob mourned deeply, refusing comfort. In Egypt, Joseph was sold to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh. Though Joseph was a slave, God was with him. Everything Joseph touched prospered. Potiphar noticed and put Joseph in charge of his entire household. But trouble came again. Potiphar's wife desired Joseph and tried to seduce him. Joseph refused, saying, "How can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?" One day she grabbed his garment, and when he fled, she accused him falsely. Joseph was thrown into prison. Prison could have broken Joseph, but it refined him. God was still with him. The prison keeper noticed Joseph's integrity and placed him in charge of the other prisoners. 2 of Pharaoh's servants, the cupbearer and the baker, were imprisoned with Joseph. Both had troubling dreams. Joseph, through God, interpreted them. The cupbearer would be restored. The baker would be executed. Joseph asked the cupbearer to remember him. But when the cupbearer was restored, he forgot Joseph. Joseph remained in prison for 2 more years. One night, Pharaoh himself dreamed troubling dreams. 7 fat cows eaten by 7 lean cows, and 7 full ears of grain swallowed by 7 thin ones. No one could interpret them. Then the cupbearer remembered Joseph. Joseph was brought before Pharaoh. He made it clear, interpretations belong to God. Joseph explained the dreams, 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of severe famine. He advised Pharaoh to prepare wisely. Pharaoh was amazed. In one moment, Joseph went from prisoner to prime minister of Egypt. Pharaoh placed his ring on Joseph's hand and made him ruler over all Egypt, second only to Pharaoh himself. Joseph was 30 years old. During the years of abundance, Joseph stored grain across Egypt. When famine struck, Egypt had food while surrounding lands suffered. People from everywhere came to Egypt to buy grain, including Joseph's brothers. They bowed before him just as in his dreams, but they did not recognize him. Joseph recognized them. Joseph tested their hearts. He accused them of being spies and demanded they bring their youngest brother, Benjamin, to Egypt. When Benjamin finally came, Joseph was overwhelmed with emotion. He tested them again by placing his silver cup in Benjamin's sack. When Benjamin was accused, Judah offered himself as a slave in Benjamin's place. Joseph saw their change. Joseph could no longer hold back his tears. "I am Joseph," he cried. Fear filled the room, but Joseph spoke words of healing. "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to save many lives." Joseph forgave them completely. Joseph sent for his father Jacob. The family moved to Egypt where they lived in safety. Jacob lived to see God's promises fulfilled. Before Jacob died, he blessed Joseph and his sons Ephraim and Manasseh. Joseph lived to see his children and grandchildren. Before his death, he reminded his family, "God will surely visit you and bring you out of this land." Joseph's story teaches powerful truths. Favor does not cancel suffering. Dreams may delay but they never die. God can use betrayal to bring promotion. Forgiveness is greater than revenge. Joseph did not become great because life was easy. He became great because he stayed faithful when life was hard. If God did it for Joseph, He can do it for you too.